Beyond residency and citizenship, what is attracting investors to Portugal? When potential investors reach out to you at 3 what are they typically asking about?
Okay, no, obviously the program still has and a lot of competitive advantages comparing to the other residency by investment programs in Europe. That's clear, and I think we won't have any challenge regarding that. So that's still a very competitive program. Still, probably as Gonçalo mentioned, is the best program. So besides that, and normally we are taking care of the money of the client, so we have a high responsibility on that. So actually we start to discuss a lot of stuff with them. Why Portugal, right? So most of the clients, they have they like what Portugal has to offer, and obviously we are biased, but we have good weather, we have nice people, we have nice food, and besides that our infrastructure is not that bad. Safety, very, very important. We have good education, good universities. Although we complain every day, actually we have I don't know, top 10 public health system in the world, so and it's completely free. So these are big advantages and big competitive advantages that we still have to offer, and I think we'll keep in doing that. On our case, because we are investment managers, so sometimes what they look is a trustworthy partner to manage their money, right? And sometimes a big portion of their money. So we have a high responsibility to deliver good results. We are basically embodied with a big fiduciary responsibility, and we are obsessed by delivering good results.
You feel the weight of the responsibility.
We feel the weight actually at Tricoma, and we have something that is not that normal, but all the employees, they are invested into our funds. So actually that does not mean that we'll always be the best, but we are completely aligned with the objectives of our investors. So actually we are everyone.
You believe what you preach.
We believe in what you preach. So we are completely obsessed by offering a good value proposition. Our funds are transparent, flexible, liquid, and actually one thing that is really important is the communication. So we tend to be very extensive in terms of explaining what is happening with the fund, where the return is coming, or where the return is not coming from. So it's really important. So our main focus is to offer diversified, intelligent, and good value proposition type of investments, because on the end of the day, that's what we are. You take care of the legal side, we take care of the investment. So that's basically that.
So let me ask you, is it the same at C2 Capital? And who are these potential investors? Where do they come from? Because I would say that at NSM, about 80% of our clients are coming from the US or even more. Are you seeing a strong demand from the US as well?
For sure. I do believe that from initial point of view, all the factors that are happening worldwide impact, and people always try to see up and be. Then US, of course, I do believe the US population is 350 million. So it's a lot. Yes, definitely, I would say 75 to 80% is US folks. But one of the key things that we are currently seeing is a more sophistication towards the decision making, and more comparisons, more questions on strategy, on like Nuno said, we have a very, very big responsibility, and actually this is a very good thing for them to actually perform a very high due diligence on the asset managers that
they challenge you as well and help you grow in that sense.
For sure. And on that, like, I do believe that it lifts a little bit the requirement for being super professional and actually completely aligned, designing good solutions, because in the end of the day we are taking care of the money of investors. So with that, I do believe that we at C2, we always have a philosophy of designing good strategies, not golden visa strategies. And what I mean by that is, yes, we know that there is a big demand of a golden visa, but the strategies that we empower at home are strategies that are a fit for golden visa investors, for institutional investors, for every investor. We believe in them. We have as well the same policy. We invest money in the fund, so interests are aligned. Remuneration is aligned. Although the majority of the track record of C2 Capital, and I would say 90%, is closed-ended funds, namely in private equity, there is actually, I do feel a little bit the responsibility of explaining better, because it's not as a more traditional asset class where people are normally invested in, so it requires more explanation and more transparency towards the counterparties that we analyze as a firm, the assets and the risk mitigation tools that we develop in-house, that somehow protect the investors, which are, in the end of the day, one of the most valuable assets that we have at C2. So for sure, US for sure is a big demand. I do believe Americans are currently on the top one, very, very far away for the second most nationality that applies. So yes, for sure.
How easy is it for US investors to access Golden Visa funds? I mean, really practically speaking.
One of the things, since the beginning, and our first Golden Visa fund was 2020, as I mentioned, but since then we try always to do a couple things. One of them is understanding who is the person that is on the other part of the world that is trying to pursue, understanding their reality. Then both teams in-house, and we are talking not only from the investor relation part and the sales part, but as well compliance, how they understand and they try to mitigate at the best of their ability the bureaucracy that involves the application.
That's helpful.
The idea, it's always help. It's always being productive and proactive. So a couple of things. We understand their reality nowadays, because in an onboarding with KYC metrics and so forth, we need to understand the geography that is in. So we currently are very, very, I would not say proficient in US, but we are fluent. And in majority of the clients have more or less the same sources, and so we can tackle pretty easy. Then there are a couple of initiatives that we've developed in-house as well, and I do believe that has been followed by the industry as well, which is a custody agreement where we can eliminate the necessity of necessity of opening a bank account, which we all know it's the clear bottleneck of the application process. So with that, we somehow eliminate the bureaucracy that, and it's not just Portugal, it's European continent as a whole. Normally you say US invents, Asia imitates, and Europe regulates. So we are super regulated continent. So we try to mitigate the most, making sure that the path towards the submission of the application is the smoothest possible.
And let me add just one thing, and I would like you to comment on that. But one thing that I'm seeing that is changing a little bit in the last years is that the logical of investment of US clients right now, in the beginning, was only focused based on the logical of vehicle for the Golden Visa. And right now it's a clear option of investment. They are starting looking outside of US to change a little bit the eggs from different baskets, not to have everything. I don't know if you feel that.
I feel that, yeah. So actually, there is a rationale for that. The last 40 years have been incredible for the US stock market, right? Stock market and US companies are the best in the world. They perform better than the European and Asian and emerging markets, even comparing with the Portuguese stocks, European stocks. Although Portuguese stocks have been quite well in the last couple of years, have done and delivering very good results. But actually, with this bipolar work and bipolar world and some instability in the US, politician instability, mainly, for the first time I have seen, I'm working on the financial industry for 25 years, more time than I would like to count, right? But actually it's the first time in 25 years that I see proactively the financial advisors in the US recommending clients to embrace other regions and new asset classes, to invest in Europe, to invest in emerging markets, and to diversify from the dollar. So I think, and actually only in, even if some investment did not deliver anything reasonable or anything meaningful in 2025, only the shift from dollars to euros in 2025 basically delivered for the US investor 14%, because dollar basically lost 14% against the euro. So only by that movement, the currency movement. So if on the top of that you could have like 4 or 5 or 10 or 15% depending, or 20% depending on the level of risk that you are that you want to accept, it has been a very good investment for most of the investors, at least on the last 2 years.
I would just like to add one thing, and actually the meetings and the follow-ups normally that we had from investors that invest in 2021 and the requirements that they demanded from us clearly shifted to a much more sophisticated currently comparing to back then. And for sure that nowadays, majority of the meetings and that we have either with investors or either with financial advisors, which a lot of Americans use their financial advisor. Before was to look at red flags. Currently, it's okay. How does this fit within my overall portfolio? Yeah. And in the past few months, the mindset has been diversification first. If I can have my cherry on top with the Golden Visa, that's perfect. But from a diversification perspective, this is actually very, 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 very good.
Yeah, I think so. I will try to summarize my opinion on this. I think so. Actually, the logical of the vehicle of investment and the results that the clients are having now with these options of the funds, they create this long-term relation. And one thing that I think resumes a little bit what they just said about this is that on our daily meetings with the clients, or when we are doing road shows outside of Portugal, what we feel is a growth on the questions about how Portugal is seeing the investors, how they can actually contribute to the Portuguese economy. So I think that again, a little bit like Francisco was saying, there is an evolution in the perspective, sophistication, the perspective of the investor, that now is more worried about the impact of their investment and less focus or focus in a different way on the Golden Visa, on the residency and the citizenship.
Currently, within the same soon-to-be company, people, and talking about bureaucracy, can onboard with just one company and have access to various strategies that take into consideration their risk profile, which in the end of the day, it's the most important thing. But one of the key things is the Golden Visa has impact in the market. The fast-growing company that then produced a merge, and as well the key things that together Nuno, ourselves, take in consideration daily is make sure that we take care of the good money and produce good returns, which in the end of the day is our mandate.